it to their governments. We want them over the next year to work on it, because by the time of the Atlanta program, the 24th through the 26th of September of next year, we want to make a big splash of what they're doing. This country has dual citizenship. Here's how you do it. Here's this one, this one, this one. This one and this one are working on it. By next year, they'll have it. We don't want to tell people, well, we hope they're going to do it. We're going to work on it, and we're going to make it happen. And I think there are governments that want to do it, they just don't know how to do it. And we're going to go back to the brother in Benin and say, okay, you haven't understood how to do it. Here's something to work on. I think they'll want to do it. We also have a program called the Afropolitan. Now, the Afropolitan is a combination of Africa and Metropolitan. The Africa, of course, is someone who has an interest in Africa. The Metropolitan is somebody who understands the concept of seeing the continent's importance to the rest of the world. So an Afropolitan is somebody who's interested in Africa, understands Africa's place in the world, but wants to take the next step and do something about it. We have a number of programs that we do connected with the summits. Last year we adopted the school, Manyata Primary School, Manyata Village Primary School. Hope Masters got some school supplies from her daughter's school, took it over to the school, we gave it to her. We also raised money from the participants of the summit. We gave them 2 weeks ago $50,000 to help rebuild that school. We also took to their village dozens of mosquito nets so they could protect themselves against malaria. We have a deal with A to Z Holdings, which is the largest maker of insect repellent mosquito nets on the continent. We're going to keep on doing our mosquito net program across the continent based on how much people can help us to put together to do it. Also in this village, or near there, we work with a Korean church to put in a $600,000 water pump that's going to provide water for thousands of people ongoing. Every summit we work with MedHelp to do supplies, medical supplies to Africa, Books for Africa to have books and school supplies for Africa. That depends on how people help us. So the Afropolitans can contribute to these very real programs. We're not hiving off a lot of money for it. We're taking this money and transferring it. In fact, the $50,000, we took not a dime of that money. All of the money we gathered, we sent to Africa. Even the cost of sending it to Africa, we ate that because we wanted them to have it. Now, the summit is not going to be next year. Usually it's every 2 years. The economic downturn has made it very difficult to hold a summit in Africa next year because the countries have to contribute something to the summit. They cost millions of dollars to put on. And many of the countries that we've talked to have trouble doing that. We have a country we're talking to. They say we can't do it in 2010. If you can wait till 2011, we're good to go. So 2011, look for the next summit. Next year, we're going to have the first ever Leon H. Sullivan Global Reunion, which is going to be another excuse me, diaspora gathering, hopefully, with your help, the largest here in America. And one of the main features of this is going to be a 3-part program that involves DNA testing, naming, and dual citizenship, and the Afropolitan. Let me tell you how it works. We're encouraging people to take this DNA test before Atlanta. It takes about 8 weeks to be sure that they can absolutely match you. When you get to Atlanta, we're having a ceremony, I think it's on Saturday morning, to reveal where you're from. And we're going to call all of those people who are Fulanis from northern Nigeria to the stage at one time. We want the ambassador from Nigeria there to welcome you, and a family from that ethnic group to also welcome you into the family of the Fulanis. And the same for every different group, so that you feel like, okay, I'm a part of this. And all these folks have a network here in the country. You can talk to other people who are Fulanis from northern Nigeria, and you can have a relationship with them. The lady who works at Africa Ancestry, Gina Page, hooked up with some, she's Fulani from northern Nigeria, but she hooked up with some Igbo people who are going back to Nigeria with her next month, sort of as her guides to introduce her into Nigerian society. That's what you need, to somebody who's from your group who knows the lay of the land. So when you go, you're not a wide-eyed tourist. You have somebody to hold your hand and walk you through this. The second part of it is a naming ceremony. Again, I mentioned earlier, we pick names because we like them. But there are names that have a real significance in your society that you want to be a part of. We will have names based on that ethnic group and that country that you can choose from. And you don't have to select it that day if you don't want to, but you have the opportunity to give yourself a name, whether you change your current name or this is just your African name or your nick, however you want to do it. This is a name that now has some real meaning. The third part is, now that you know where you're from, now that you feel a part of it, what can I do? Okay, we're going to explain the dual citizenship program and how you can do it. We're going to explain what UNIA and ACL are doing to get you acculturated into a new society. And so I think when you leave there, you will have that emotional boost, but you'll also have some practical information to lead you further. So I hope that you will take the message all across the country, all across this continent, all throughout this hemisphere. We need to be in Atlanta. We need to be a part of this. We need to get our brothers and sisters out there linked to the continent. We need to do something. Several years ago, I managed a conference that the African Union paid for, December 2002, here in Washington. We had people from all over the continent. In fact, we had a brother from Brazil who had to leave in the middle of the conference because President Lula had made him his black advisor. So he had to go back to Brazil. We had a number of people. We hashed out a number of difficulties. Who's the diaspora? What does that really mean? The African Union was sitting in the room. They were so impressed with the breadth of our presence, of our interest, of the possibilities. They went home and in 2 months, they changed the charter of the African Union to make us the 6th region of Africa. Now, we haven't actualized it yet because we're still divided.
Wow.
Fortunately, Brother Baye was telling me that we have a process to overcome that chasm between us. And I think that Marcus Garvey and Padmore and all of these other people will be smiling on us from heaven